What's up, everybody?
What up?
We're here.
Happy 420.
So you were about to get highly educated with the Cannabis Closet podcast with Canna Queen. That's me. Hi. And MJ, that's her. This is an adult content show with no limitations on subject, language, or actions. Opinions, views, and expressions may or may not be that of the hosts, their guests, their subsidiaries. Please note, we're not medical physicians or attorneys. Any information that we share is based solely on our own personal research, knowledge, and experience. So I hope you got one rolled up, and I'm glad that you showed up. And let's get this party started. Oh, look, the microphone is like right there. We'll just put it there. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
We made it today.
We did. Happy 420.
Happy 420. Oh, we should relight this.
Oh, I didn't even realize it.
It went out, and then I just didn't relight it.
It has been going out. How's everyone doing today?
I hope y'all are good. Say hi in the comment section. You know, we can't see you sometimes unless you say hi to us.
It's been a week.
It's been a week. I'm so tired.
I know. We didn't even tell you what we did last week, y'all.
We forgot to tell you what we did last night.
And now I feel like it's just been a blur since then.
Yeah. So we said, where have we been? And then we just proceeded to not tell you where we had been. So that was interesting and fun. Where we had been is
hey, Cal.
We had been to Tico Time
In New Mexico.
We had been I had been to Durango. We had been doing a couple of events.
Lots of events.
Lots of events in August.
Good events. Good.
Good. I was gonna ask.
I know the y'all. It was late in the evening or early morning, I think, right? That Florida was supposed to get the whatever they're gonna get. My parents are in Georgia. Mom said that it's lots of wind and rain. And she has the eye going over. Like, I've been watching the radar. Like,
yeah.
And they're in Metter, Georgia, so it's the southeastern side of Georgia. And yeah, hope everyone's safe. Hopefully everyone will be protected in this time, because it looks rough.
Yes.
Storm surges.
These storms are getting worse, and y'all should be outraged about it, because there's nothing that we can do about it. It's all up to the large corporations and entities to change their practices,
lead the way,
in order to reverse the damage that we can reverse that's been done to this planet. And you throwing your can in the recycling is just not enough. It's just we don't make as individuals a big enough impact. Even if every individual followed suit, the impact is not big enough to save the damage that has been done to this planet by corporations.
And the technology and the capability is there and out there. Things have been developed. The natural capabilities to fix some of the damage that has been done is also there. And
I mean,
to not be utilizing that because
a hurricane, you guys, a hurricane and an earthquake.
What we saw, showing a picture of the tornado over the mountains of Montana.
Yeah. What?
Over the mountains.
What?
That's typically, I mean, okay, weather, it's a possibility, obviously, but
clearly it's a possibility.
But it typically only happens over flat lands.
Yeah, so yeah, the weather's been crazy. I want y'all to be careful out there.
Be safe.
Hunker down. Get lots of water.
It'll be an interesting winter.
Yeah, that's true. You know, it's rained almost every day this summer in our area. Almost every single day.
One way or another.
Yeah. Or hailed like the other day. So I went to see Weezer. It was dope. It brought the little punk kid out in me. I've always been super eclectic, so I listen to every genre of music just about. And and I have done that this year for sure with my concert choices and venues. But yeah, Weezer was one of my favorites growing up. So was, like, you know, Snoop Dogg and Ice Cube and NWA. Like, I loved all of those. And, you know, so
it was just a very prevalent soundtrack in our lives.
Yeah.
Like,
it was amazing. They put on an amazing show. We were at Fiddler's Green. And we're seeing Wu-Tang next week on Friday. I'm so stoked on that. So we've had, it's been an interesting musical summer. I started out with Twiddle. Saw the Marley Brothers. Saw Janet Jackson and Ludacris. Janet Jackson, work on your presentation. Just a little critique.
Don't tour anymore like
that. Yeah, don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
If that's going to be the case, do it at an intimate spot. Don't do it at a big venue. Anyways, saw Dead and Company.
Dead and Company, that was awesome.
So good. Saw was this the next what was the last one we saw? Revolution. We saw Revolution. They were with Iration, and the Externals. Eternals. I can't remember the name. Anyways,
there's 4 bands.
And Pacifier was there too.
I would say something with a P.
And then saw Weezer and gonna see. So it's been a musical, amazing summer. So that's part of where we've been to. Oh, we went to the Reggae Fest too, Antico Time.
Yep.
So we saw Marlon Asher, Perfect Getty Money, and a few others there. I can't list them all because I don't know all of their names.
But you guys can go check out the lineups because they're all listed on those.
Amazing.
Check out our past stories or whatever.
So yeah, but yeah, maybe hopefully, as far as going back to what we were talking about a minute ago, hopefully you guys stay safe out there in the South,
in the weather world.
And I mean, I'm not telling you to stop doing what you're doing for the environment. Keep doing it, but our impact is not enough, is what I'm saying.
So we have to, everyone has to be a part, including
like the corporation. If the corporations aren't a part of it, every single person on this planet could do what we needed to do. If the corporations aren't part of it, it wouldn't be enough. It would not be enough. So, and their resources are necessary in certain situations to implement some of these changes, but they would also have to cut back on like the waste and the pollution and the etc. things, which they won't do because that's where they make their money, by destroying this beautiful planet, which will destroy us before we destroy it. Trust.
Which I think that brings everything full circle about the weather is we need to we're paying attention to the weather. It's been crazy, y'all.
We're sending our protectors to you.
But yeah, so far everyone in my Florida fam has checked in as okay. Been getting updates from mom that it's wind and
it's windy,
wind and rain.
She's got a puppy.
No, they have not. They won't get it till October.
Oh, thank goodness.
It's just been born, so they have to wait for the 8 weeks.
Her parents are getting a puppy.
My parents are getting a golden doodle puppy.
Do you want your parents getting a puppy?
We want them to stay small. Its name's going to be Harrison.
Golden doodle still. Anyways, the dog's not going to stay small. Do you want your mom getting a puppy? Anyways, I have to say something about why I'm mad today. I'm mad today. I have a reason to be mad today, but also I want to talk about how I'm not mad today too, because something happened with a previous being mad, a couple of previous mad corners that have reversed. So.
Oh, yay. Okay, that's right. And then the other mad, why?
I'm mad today because people are inconsiderate. I'm very mad today about
people that are called friends.
I mean,
that are inconsiderate.
If you don't want to see, it's not even about me, right? I'm gonna keep this as vague as possible. It's not even about me, but it's about somebody I care about. If you don't want to see somebody, just say that, or don't make plans with them, because literally people took off work. People were excited to see you and hang out with you, and then you don't even fucking bother to return a text message. I hope you're okay. I'm going to say that first because I always have to preface with that. I would feel absolutely horrible if something were to happen. But also I think you're fine and that you're just being inconsiderate. And you're grown ass person. Very grown. And so how text messages work. Even if you're hungover or not feeling it today or whatever.
The only excuses are jail and hospital.
Hospital, or you're really inconsiderate. You're really fucking inconsiderate. And stop it at your old age. Stop it at your old age. That's why I'm mad. Because listen, if you're old enough to have this device in your hand, then you're old enough to just fucking communicate with somebody. Just fucking say, I'm not going to make it today or whatever the fuck. That's it. Especially when people have taken time out of their schedule to accommodate you. This is fucking rude. You want to talk about being a burden. That's the burden. That's the burdensome part. That's it. You're not a burden if, I have space and you need a space to stay. But you are a burden if you fail to communicate with me.
Yep. Sorry.
You are. That is burdensome. You could take that however you literally, I could be talking about 15 people right now. It's a burden. Okay. Just fucking communicate. It's simple. Simple as that. But we have some reverses. So I told you guys there were two things that happened. I don't know if I talked about the second one on this show. Might have done it on the Instagram or something, but maybe I did. But okay, so there were two instances where people took money from me. Literally sucked the money out of my account. So one of them was it was an online thing where they had already charged me for an item that I received. They charged me 2 or 3 months later, and I had to call them and be like, what is this charge? They told me what it was, and I was like, fine, whatever. Then they charged me for it again. So I ended up having to have this phone call. I was on the phone for probably a good hour. going back and forth with this guy who kept like, let me talk to my manager. And then like, okay, we can, and then he would come back and he would be like, we can give you back 25%. And I was like, I don't know why you think this is a negotiation. This is not a negotiation. This is what's going to happen.
We don't give 100%.
I was like,
we don't even give refunds, but I'll give you 25%.
That's what he kept telling me. We don't do refunds. I'll give you 25%. We can't do 100%. And I was like, you will do 100% because you stole my money. I did not give you permission to take this money. As a matter of fact, I'm going to report you. So I went full white woman on him, but with reason and with cause and without racism. You know, you could do that without being racist. Did you know? You can. Okay. So he kept telling me, so then he kept saying, let me check with my manager. And then he would come back with another 25%. So then he came back with 50%. And I was like, dude, I don't know why you think we're negotiating. I kept telling him that. I was like, I don't know why you think this is a negotiation. It's 100%. Or we're going to have a huge problem. So he would put his phone down at 75%. And then finally he came back and was like, fine, we're going to give you 100%, right? You'll see it in 3 to 4 days. I thought I was going to have to call this week because we had not seen that money come through the account. And then this morning it came through in $30 increments. So it's like $30 added, $30 added, $30 added, 30 until it.
So they approve every time they approved it at
25%. Yeah,
that's
it's 25%.
Oh my gosh!
But I got that money back. So,
yeah.
So then I also had this other issue with a bank who had taken my money for banker's fees. I'd never even met my banker or talked to my banker or discussed any, like they didn't even know who I was, what I did as a business or anything. And I was like, you guys took my money whenever. So it was in it. We signed up with one bank. This is crazy. Pay attention to this because this is crazy. I don't know. I still do not understand why this happened. We signed up with one bank, and I guess they're somehow partnered with some other financial institution, and they ended up like over a year in transferring my account into the possession of the other institution. The other institution says we're the same bank, and I was like, but you got different names, and if you're the same bank, then why is this different?
And everything stays the same. Yeah,
right.
Say, yeah.
If you're the same bank, nothing should change. So they started charging me about 7 months ago, $150 a month, which I didn't know because it never happened before. And it's like money goes into that account and I don't touch it. So I let it just build up in there. And if I need something, then I'll go. But like generally I just let it build. So I needed something and I went to look and I didn't have any money in my account. I was like, I don't understand why. So I'm just like, anyway, so they started charging me $150 a month. They took $750 out of my account. And I was like mind blown. So I start calling people. I get a contact and I'm fighting my case. I'm like that. It's apparently a regulation charge. It's a charge for a regulation that they have to uphold for cannabis businesses, which by the way is bullshit.
$150 a month.
So predatory. It's like they're making money. Let's charge them $150 a month just to have an account
here. But
that's for ancillary businesses. That's for ancillary businesses that, anyways. So I was like, I'm an ancillary business, but I have zero contact with the plant, with, blah, blah, blah. I'm a consultant and an educator. And then they were like, no, we can't do anything about it. I talked to my manager. This was all via text, by the way. This girl was texting me
with an account manager. But so, hey, she was effective.
Then she was not. Well, she sent me these emails. She sent me these emails. And I was like, you guys are predatory. You guys are thieves. I was not nice. And then so she sends me these emails and I send again. And I was like, you should never have charged me this money. I definitely am requesting a refund and I want you to close my account. Blah, blah, blah. This other girl was like, no, 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 no. I sent this email and because I was like, I've never heard of this banker. If you even talk to me, you would know that this is a crazy amount for my company, that we would never even agree to that. We would never even agree to that as a small business. Anyway, so back and forth. She sent me an email right before the weekend and it said something like after further review basically you're right and we're gonna send you a check for $750.
Yes, I'm eating a cupcake.
And not only that, yeah, it's real good. It's a real good cupcake. And not only that, but you got a payment while we were trying to process and close your account. So we're going to send you, we have to reissue your check. And so they're sending me a check and they're closing my account and I got that money back. Abundance, money, come. I was like, why am I losing this money? But I fought for it. I got it all back.
Yep.
I got all of it back. Yeah.
I mean, you stayed on it. It's like, that's the thing. It's like you had to.
They
like,
expect you to not.
They expect you to not.
They're
exactly.
like, they expect you to be like, whatever, it's $157. Whatever, it's $750. I guess I lost $700. No, bitch. I don't have $750 to lose. I need that money.
I've definitely even gone into my bank and been like, can you reverse that overdraft fee? And they're like, yes. And they do.
If y'all want to charge like a small rental fee for us to rent space in your bank for our money to sit, that should be a flat rate that every customer has to pay. I'm also eating cupcakes. Mine has berries on it.
Yeah, she is. So I'm eating a s'mores cupcake. It's a local cupcake company.
It's called the Cake Company.
Called the Cake Company. In
so good.
down the world road.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
So good.
They like inject the cupcakes with whatever filling, and their icing is really good.
Not even off camera.
I don't care.
They're really good.
Can you hear us eating, or can you just see it? Is it a sensory thing?
ASMR or whatever.
At least it's not stuck in my teeth. I'm eating a chocolate s'mores one. It is really good. Have you tried the s'mores one?
I have. Okay. It's very good.
Have you tried that other one?
I haven't.
It's good. This one's okay. It's the
German chocolate.
Yeah, they need to inject the German chocolate into it. It just sits on top. So as long as you mix the top into it, it'll be perfect.
I agree. Wow.
Ladies over here contributing to the ASMR.
I did not put a history moment in. I just did not. But I don't know if I played this Jeopardy piece. I think I did, where he was like saying all of the.
I will have to say, there have been some amazing athletes that have been winning, and Simone Biles, is that her name? After a 2-year break to take care of her health, and
also because they fucking pounced on her over cannabis use and dealing with the death of a parent, like.
Sha'Carri, that's Sha'Carri.
Oh, that was Sha'Carri. Oh,
that's Sha'Carri.
Sorry. I thought
Simone
I
Biles
was just thinking
the
runner. I was thinking she won.
Yes, because she's
Sha'Carri won.
The track and field has been on
Simone
fire.
Biles is the gymnast.
The gymnast, yes.
Sorry, I had the runner in my brain. I was like, I can see her face.
She made history. 8-time national champion. Thank you, sister.
That's amazing.
And
she's an amazing gymnast.
And what is it, over a decade? Like she's been doing this since she was how old, sister?
Yeah, she was a young child. She was involved in that case as well, right? Which I don't want her to be remembered like that. She's an amazing gymnast. Since she was 5.
That's
crazy.
And then
an amazing human being too.
I think the men's and women's relay, both teams took gold.
I'm so happy about Sha'Carri because, sorry, I got the stories mixed up, but she went through so much shit.
Mm-hmm.
She lost a parent. She used cannabis to cope with her grief. Cannabis is not an enhancement drug. It's not a drug in my opinion, but it's certainly not, it's not going to like enhance your muscle. Like it's not that, you know?
Yeah. Anything. It's not going to, yeah, exactly.
It's not going to make you faster.
It just helps with recovery.
It helps with recovery and mental health and aches and pains the same way better than if we thought about it in that way, that makes you more enhanced, then we have to think about Tylenol the same way. We have to start testing for Tylenol and Advil and those things because they relieve pain that you might be experiencing that might be keeping you from being able to perform at your best because you're in pain, right? So I think it was such bullshit. And then to see her compete and obviously win because she's amazing. Yeah, I think they said last year they were going to stop testing for cannabis, I want to say, or it was at least in discussion.
Yeah. And
I think
Major League Baseball is
done
done with it. Yep.
Is done with that too. So it's coming on board. But yeah, I was thinking the other day, you know, I've been doing jujitsu and I was like, you know, I might want to like jump in and do some sparring or whatever and do a competition. But then I was like, do they drug test? Because then I'm out. I'm not passing a drug test for a hobby. I'm not going to do that.
No.
But yeah. So yeah, that is good. And also, I mean, also there was a tragedy, also a couple of tragedies this past week and over the weekend too. There was a shooting in Oklahoma, right, at a football field. And then there was a shooting at, was it the Dollar? Where was that at? 3 people lost their lives, not including, well, 4 people including the shooter. There was not a lot of coverage on it, and it's starting to be like that. Like we're not even getting.
No, they want people to be blind to it, or the Dollar General.
Dollar General, yeah, it was. I knew it was like the dollar store, Dollar General, something like that. Looking it up too. In Jacksonville. This was racially motivated. This guy's not being charged with hate crime, or did he shoot himself? Or they're not saying it was a hate crime. Did he kill himself? I want to say, I can't remember. This is so crazy to me that there's so many. So maybe he didn't.
He drove to that area.
Did he take his own life? White male turned the gun on himself after, yes, he did. Coward. But they're not talking about it like it's a hate crime. And also they're not charging these people with hate crimes when they're doing these things. And it's just like, what more do you need? What more do you need? That can bring us into one of the stories that I wanted to talk about today. Ron DeSantis says that he will not legalize cannabis if he becomes president. Do you want to know why?
Why? I haven't actually looked at why won't he legalize it?
No. They did arrest somebody in that Oklahoma shooting. He was 15 years old. The problem with this is, yeah, we need better laws surrounding firearms and such, but also people don't care for human life. They don't have there's some lack of empathy. I don't know what the issue is, why these usually young white men are so angry with the world that they have to take it out on innocent people. But like, I'm so sorry that you even had to think about that. Kelly said her kids were there.
Oh no.
I'm so sorry that you even had to think about it. What do we do though, you know? What do we do? This is a country divided about what we do about this issue. I'm not divided about it. I will say that I don't have all the answers, but definitely there needs to be more laws surrounding gun safety. Like there are laws surrounding safety of driving your car,
or cannabis safety,
or etc. But it's a bigger issue. It's not just a firearms issue, because I have firearms in my house. I'm angry sometimes at the world even, and it's never crossed my mind to take those firearms and go take my anger out on someone who doesn't deserve it, or is not, or on anybody really. I've never really ever thought about shoot. Like, yeah. I will say there's this one time that I was like, it could happen today. I was in Japan. I was a young sailor. I had been on a post for 2 hours longer than I was scheduled to be there. I was hungry. I had to go to the bathroom. And the guy who was supposed to relieve me always relieved me and everybody else late. And the way that we did it back then was that we had our firearm, we had our waist belt with our firearm in it, but then we also had a long arm. So we would have to share that long arm with the post. So that long arm belonged to the post. So when the person came, you had to pass it, like physically pass it off to them. And when he got there, he was so nonchalant about it. He was literally not doing anything. He was not called out on anything. He was nothing. He was literally just late. And I was on the verge of losing my shit. But one of the things that I'm a stickler for training. Your brain needs it. Okay. I'm big on that. I think it's really important. And as inconsistent as I can be sometimes, I think training and repetitiveness is super important. And one of the things that they did in training was one of the things that they repeated is that if you ever feel like you need to be downloaded, then tell somebody and get downloaded. Stop carrying a firearm if you feel like you shouldn't be carrying a firearm. Because you're too weak, because you're too whatever, don't do it. So I was so angry. Like I could feel the rage in my body. I could feel it in my face. I could feel I was like burning hot, could feel it in my eyes. And I handed my long arm off to the guy that relieved me from post, who took his sweet ass time taking it even out. I was like, you really need to take this out of my hands. I was being so serious. I was just like, you really need to take this out of my hand. So he takes it, and I look at the person who is like just he's driving, taking people on and off post. And I was like, I really need you to take this off of my waist. And he took my waist belt off and he put it in the trunk, and he took me back, and I got downloaded. That's the only time that I can ever remember thinking I could lose control right now. And like my anger has always been something that I personally have feared, because I always felt like, what if I cross this line? There's no coming back from crossing that line, right?
Right.
And so, yeah. So even with that history of me, even with that, knowing that about myself, there's never been a time where I've just woken up and been so mad at the world and the injustices in this world, for sure, that I would take it out to a public space, or even take it to the level of breaking out my firearm. The only reason I'm gonna break out the firearm is for self-defense, honestly.
Yeah.
I will talk a situation down as much as I can, but so anyways, be careful out there, you guys. Pay attention to your surroundings, keep your family close, and tell your protectors that you know that they're there and that you would like to be surrounded by protection, because I really believe in that shit. I feel like it saved me a million times. So,
and
Ron DeSantis.
So I was reading through this article as you were talking, and got an idea. I mean, and again, ridiculousness is coming out of this man's mouth, and it's all summed up in the very bottom. I love the last part that actually is from Science and Medical, about like that kind of obviously opposes what he's saying,
right? Because what he's saying is he doesn't want to legalize cannabis. If he becomes president, he will not legalize cannabis. And the reason he gives is something that could be prevented by legalizing and regulating cannabis.
He's very, he talks out both sides of his mouth in ways, and then also gives his very own opinion. And it's about the smell of it. And that's why he also is against it, is that it's a putrid smell and no one should have to be affected by that.
Well,
I get assaulted by
cigarettes.
I was like, I get assaulted by smells all the time that are not pleasing to my nose.
Listen, pause for a second, because when we went to Tico Time, we stayed in a hotel the night before the event. And when we got there, we checked in and everything, and then we went out and we got our stuff out of the car. And when we were out at the car getting our stuff, of course, we smoked a blizzy. Of course we did. So then we come back in, and there's this like mayonnaise colored man at the desk, and he looks us up and down. So I'm like, whatever.
Next thing, they saw us out by the car too.
Yeah. Next thing we know, the hotel manager is at our door. He's called us. He's left us a message already on our phone. He's at our door, and he goes, "You can't have whatever you have in this hotel." And I go, "I don't know what you're talking about." And he was like, "Whatever that is, we can smell it. It smells very strong." And I go, "I don't have anything in your hotel. I just smoked out at my car." So
as we were asked to,
I'm not in your hotel doing that. Mm-mm. And he like sprayed the hallway with this like orange, that super strong orange spray was the citrus spray.
Yeah.
So the next morning I was like checking out or whatever. And I go, "I just want to know if you follow your cigarette smokers to their room and spray them with spray when they come in from smoking a cigarette." And he was like, "We don't follow anybody to their room." And I was like, "You literally followed me to my room the other day." I said, "For using something that's legal in this state, not inside of your hotel, I was outside. And when cigarette smokers come in, they smell much worse. So like, do you follow them to their room and spray them? Or
what about people that wear Axe body spray? Like that assaults my nose.
That's an assault. And
I can't spray something on you to make you
that says a lot, because not a lot assaults her nose, because she does not have
I don't have a very good sense of smell.
Super strong sense of smell. So Ron DeSantis. Sorry, I keep interrupting.
But he blames it on the fentanyl crisis, and that you can throw that stuff in anyhow, or what does he say? And then of course they can throw fentanyl in any of it stuff now.
Not if I bought it from a regulated shop. If I bought it from a regulated facility, then odds are good it's not going to have fucking fentanyl in it. You know what has fentanyl in it? Things you buy off the street. You fucking idiot.
It says, we have medical in our Constitution. We have medical marijuana. We enforce that. We abide by it. But to take action now to make it even more available, I would not do that.
I want the revenue from what people purchase in this state to come to my state, but I will not allow that revenue in every state.
He blames Colorado on black market sales.
We're not responsible for underground market sales. We're responsible for having a regulated market that actually prevents people from seeking out underground markets.
Yeah. He says the stench when you're out there. I mean, it smells so putrid.
In Florida. Do you know how many people in Florida smoke cigarettes?
I want people to be able to breathe freely.
In Florida. Sir. Out of pocket, sir.
No. So in June, when DeSantis was asked by a man claiming to be speaking on behalf of military veterans living with sickness and injury after serving their country, whether he would decriminalize cannabis if elected president, DeSantis said he would not, saying it would impact employee performance.
Never has it ever.
I think that we have too many people using drugs in this country right now, says this governor, Florida governor.
In Florida, where people die.
I think it hurts our workforce readiness. Yeah, people are dying.
People are dying from prescription drug overdoses and from using methamphetamines and heroin and whatever the fuck. They got a drug problem in Florida, and let me tell you what it's not. It's not cannabis.
It could be alcohol.
It could be fentanyl.
And fentanyl.
But not in a regulated, like if it's a regulated purchase, there's not going to be fentanyl in my cannabis unless we have a rogue employee. That's a different conversation in a different podcast.
Yeah. He says that the kids in high school who got involved with it, all suffered.
No, they didn't, sir. And you're just mad because you were not cool in high school.
All their activities, all their grades, and everything like that. I bet if you ask
all
of the athletes that they were all doing no.
But also, if you have a regulated market, Rhonda, the children can't buy it from the regulated market, Rhonda. People cannot put fentanyl in a regulated product, Rhonda. So,
I mean, they can after the fact.
They can after the fact if they want, but like it's not. You're not buying it that way.
Oh, okay. So we'll get to the. So it continues to go into his loveliness about why he feels that way, but it goes into also that. The headlines, while they cause alarm, they frequently fall apart. They have
you know how they told us that there was needles in our candy and you weren't allowed to chew a piece of gum because it was a little bit open in the package. If you could see the pink of the gum in the package, then you couldn't have it. Remember that in the 80s? If you're from the 80s, do you remember that?
We get reminded of it all the time.
That's what this is.
So it's been reported several times, but then they have to retract the statements because eventually it tests that there is no fentanyl in this cannabis in all these cases. And then it goes on to, this is, I think, clarified by the New York State Department of Health. It's it's most likely not weed. But anyway, it's smoking fentanyl-laced pot. Is smoking fentanyl-laced pot even feasible considering how it burns? It's a topic High Times has explored. It's unclear if you can consume fentanyl in that way by smoking. This is from Peter Grinspoon, MD, an internist and medical cannabis specialist at Massachusetts General Hospital.
And very well-known cannabis science.
and an instructor at Harvard Medical School. He told High Times in 2021, some drugs you can smoke, like cocaine, freebase does crack, but fentanyl tends to disintegrate starting at about 500 degrees Fahrenheit, and it fully disintegrates at about 1,000 degrees. And when you smoke, you're talking at about 2,000 degrees. So while it could have happened someplace, it would make little sense for drug dealers to lace pot with fentanyl if it's smoked, considering how much could be wasted.
It doesn't make sense.
So it doesn't make sense. Again, the cases that it's been blown up and made a big deal of, they have had to retract their statements. This is one of the police departments, and again, the health department. So,
so fuck you, Rhonda, and also don't vote for them. Y'all stop voting for them. So they're not looking out for your best interest, and ever. They're like
the goods that they say they're doing. Are they really doing it? What are the benefits?
Please tell me one reason.
We're fine to hear the good things.
I want to know one reason. If you vote conservative, Republican, I want to know one reason why you vote that way. That is a reason that affects you personally and only you personally. Like, it affects other people, but like it actually directly affects you. Like, this person does this for me, or does this. And I'm not talking about getting on here and talking about, well, they're against abortion. I give no fucks about that, because if you're not for bodily autonomy, you're not for me. Okay. I was born and lived my whole life with this vagina. And let me tell you something. If you're not for bodily autonomy, you're not for me at all. At all. I have just as much right to take up space and have bodily autonomy as any man on this planet. I have just as much right. So that's not a reason. It's a reason that affects you. That affects you. Are they? Is it because of the tax thing? Is it because of taxes? Because none of their tax policies affect you in the least. I guarantee it. I guarantee you don't make enough money. I guarantee it.
And if that is the case for you, like, look at then why are there, what's fair and what's not fair in regard to taxes?
Oh, thanks. I just saw the comment about our video being like, it was pretty fun to make. I think we're gonna reshoot it when it's actually winter outside, like snowing or something.
Gotta get her up on the hill.
Yeah. So yeah, but we had fun making it. We're going to try to find more sounds like that and make more sounds like that. But yeah, you guys, this is not a political podcast, and I'm not even telling you to vote Democrat even, because fuck those guys. Okay.
Same
the
bird.
Two-party system is bullshit. But like, literally voting conservative or Republican, if you vote conservative or Republican, I mean, you might not realize it, but you're racist. I mean, I said it. I'm just saying, you might not understand or realize that, but like, you're voting for people, you're a racist and you hate women, even if you are one. I'm sorry, because you're voting for people who take the rights away from other people for no other reason than to be what? Righteous about what? For who? Righteous for who? Because it's literally so infuriating. No white men are getting their rights taken away.
That's the thing. It's like
all of these rights are safe and sound for white men, but you can't be part of the LGBTQIA community. You can't be a woman. You can't be black or brown in this country. It's so crazy. And literally, like, Rhonda is creating Gilead in his state. He's creating Gilead in his state. If you don't know what that is, check out Handmaid's Tale on Hulu. No, this is not an advertisement. I'm just telling you that the accuracy in like how things progress, like, the reason people were such in shock and awe when that series came out is because reality is that those slow progressions are happening.
And that's what it is. Small. It's accepted. It's accepted in this way. Well, it's okay until it's not. And then all of a sudden they've made these laws and created things that we can't now work. There is no get out of it.
They
or change
overturned
it,
Roe
or
versus Wade.
Come
It's a
on, y'all.
50-year precedent. I mean, come on. The Roe versus Wade, I have had the choice of bearing a child my whole life until Roe versus Wade was recently overturned. And I am 46 years old. My whole life I was protected under that law. And then suddenly I'm not. And you know what's crazy about me talking about that is I don't even need protection. I can't have children. By choice. That's my choice. By choice, I can't have children. That law, Roe versus Wade, does not affect me in the least. But you know what happens is first they overturn Roe versus Wade. Next, they overturn something else that will affect me.
Yep. Or affect someone you know.
And Roe versus Wade affects people I know and love. And even if I didn't love them, I still think they deserve bodily autonomy. Because if you don't get anything else, if you don't get control over anything else in this world, you should be able to say what happens with your body.
And then they threaten the doctors that can help you, the people that are supposed to help you.
Which is so crazy because they take a Hippocratic oath, right? To do what's best by the patient that they're serving. And they can't do that because the laws will put them in jail and cancel their license. And I don't know. I think like as an organization, the medical board needs to get together and make sure there are protections for these doctors who do their fucking job and take care of their fucking patients. It's so crazy. And this is not an argument about whether or not you think abortion should be, is something that is right. It's not about your opinion on abortion, because your opinion on abortion does not matter when we're talking about a human being with bodily autonomy to make decisions on their own and make a decision that will not affect you and your family in the least. At all. And what these laws are preventing is medically necessary abortions, which is like if the child has been miscarried, that some women are having to carry we've already given you guys a trigger warning. Some women are having to carry a dead fetus in their body to term or to death because of these laws. That's unviable.
That's death, y'all. That's
unviable. They can't take it out. So you tell me why you keep voting for these people. Because I don't understand it. Yep. I don't understand it. Anyways, on to the next.
Which is about voting. This is for you, Ohio. There's talks about my nephew wanting to move to Ohio.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Sounds miserable.
You live in Florida. I mean, if you have to live anywhere, you live in Florida.
You live in Florida and you're a man.
If you're not going to live in Colorado with me, then stay in Florida.
But don't go to Ohio. Ohio is gray and cold. And
your mom's in Florida.
Listen, I love y'all in Ohio.
Don't go to Ohio.
But I think, wow, you guys have a strong will to live in Ohio, because I am instantly depressed when I get into that state. It's rough.
I don't know if I've been to Ohio.
My sister lives in Ohio. How you're not instantly depressed?
I know people that live in, or I know people that.
Sorry, I'm not. Okay. I'm sorry to hate on your state. There, you guys are Ohio. Voting.
Voters will decide on adult use legalization measure this November. Make sure you know what this is. This is from Normal. They put this out August 16th, so you can definitely check it out there.
Can we send this article to my email?
Yep.
Because I want to, like we did with Missouri, let's pay attention to what you're voting for. Like, is this a good law?
is it? So the ballot proposal allows for the possession of up to 2.5 ounces of marijuana or 15 grams of extracts by adults.
15 grams.
15
I'm
grams.
moving to Ohio. Just kidding.
Ohioans could purchase at retail locations, grow up to 12 plants in a private residence where at least 2 adults reside. Retail cannabis products would be taxed at 10%, and sales are anticipated to generate between 276.2 million to 403.6 million in annual cannabis tax dollars.
On the surface, it sounds great. 2.5 ounces, not bad. 15 grams, great.
12 plants.
12 plants.
10% tax.
The taxes, they're always high.
I mean, ours is 20.
They're always high.
Plus, municipalities could opt out if majority of elected officials decide in favor of ordinance to do so.
Oh, see, I don't like that. I would say municipalities can opt out if the residents of that municipality agree, because elected officials don't always do what the people want.
Yeah, I think it should.
And that could go either way. That could go like they put too many pot shops in the area, or they don't put any at all in an area that's in need. You know what I'm saying? Like they have people who need it there. Trust me when I tell you, Ohio has people that need it there for sure.
So the Normal's Deputy Director, Paul Armanetto, has added that historically, when given the chance, voters have consistently chosen to reject cannabis criminalization and to embrace legalization and regulation. Ohioans have seen similar legalization laws adopted in neighboring states, and they know that regulating the cannabis market is preferred to the failed policy of prohibition.
Well, yeah, and the state could use the money because they're losing money to the surrounding states that are legalizing.
And
Ohioans are leaving the state to buy what they could buy in the state.
Right. And here's the thing is that we also have to keep in mind as we're legalizing across the nation and where it's a tourist market or not a tourist market and recreational versus medical. If it doesn't make sense, then boost up your medical programs. Like make sure that your medical programs support what you need. If anything, make that, because they're going to fuck us in the end. Like if we don't, continue with some kind of medical, they're going to say, and start controlling it. And
also High Times did an article on, the BS behind rec versus medical or whatever. I didn't put that article in here because I started reading it and it started out with like a pretty triggering recalling of a past event. And so I was like, whoa, the readers can read this on their own. But so I didn't get into the article, but I do think that we should maintain our medical programs in the states. But I think that also it should be a combined thing. So you don't have to have 2 different stores. You don't have to have even 2 different plants. You could have this plant can be sold as adult use with taxes, or if they've seen a doctor and have a condition, without taxes. Right. And so that benefits.
Pricing across the board is even.
Pricing is even across the board. I can get a let's say $20 eighth. You could get a $20 eighth. I'm buying it without my medical card. You have your medical card. I have to pay taxes. You don't. So the eighth is still $20, but I just have to pay a tax on it. And so that,
I think our edible limits is where
it should be just be like across the board.
Can they just make whatever? But then are they going to start capping everyone's?
I think that you could still keep some of your laws around possession or whatever. So if I'm a medical patient, I can get 2 ounces. But I think also like 1 ounce of a edible or a concentrate or something like that should be equal on both sides. So if they're saying 15 in Ohio, 15 grams is your limit, then that should be across the board. I can get 15 grams, you could get 15 grams, you know, whatever. I don't know. And I guess that would be per ounce, but then your possession limit, like the ounce equals the ounce, but like when we get into possession, you can only get 1 and I can get 2 or whatever.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, that's where the difference is, and how, you know, I guess even
I think that's the only way to save the medical program in a lot of these places that are bringing on retail, and it's also a way to save the quality of the products that we're getting, because if we're growing for potential purpose of treating a medical condition, we're going to want to grow something better. And then everybody has access to it.
Oh,
it's complicated. It is complicated, but it doesn't have to be, I guess.
It does when you get the, you know, when the over regulation or the too much oversight from people that don't understand a lot of the plant, patient aspect and consumption. You know, they look at it in terms of always and on the research based of what they've done as a, you know, thinking it's as an illegal plant and the warnings against it. And
they do comparisons. They compare us to like pharmaceutical type drugs, and it's just you know, while
also making pharmaceutical type cannabis drugs.
It's when we talk about homeopathic remedies and how they work, it's not like, here, take this 10 milligram capsule and everything will be fine, right? It's not like, here's a prescription for these. It's not like that, you know. A lot of times homeopathic medicine works best when you get it into the system and start maintaining a consistency about it. And also, I mean, I guess those drugs do too, but it's just about, you know, you can't just put it, it's just not, you can't just swallow a pill about it, is what I'm trying to say. It's time to relight this joint.
Unless you want to pack your own mushroom capsules or your own
I just think, you know, when we talk about plant medicine and how it works, I don't know. You could make the comparisons, but it's just very difficult to make those measurements and comparison and have a generalization, I guess, because for me, this pill works. For her, she needs 3. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I don't know. I feel like,
well, that's where when we talk about our each individual endocannabinoid systems, is that what I need and what you need are different. What I need to consume, what you need to consume are different.
Exactly.
How we eat and how happy 420 West Coast.
That's
why we danced and we lived and we did not
didn't say nothing about it. It's been the practice. So anyway, Ohio, pay attention. We'll pay attention. On the surface of that, it looks great. It looks great. You get to grow your own. They have a decent carry limit, and the tax is not horrible. It's not horrible.
It's 24th state to legalize if they do so, and with adult use, and the 14th done so by the public vote. So yeah, we'll keep an eye out.
Okay. Sure that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's next?
This show is brought to you by CQ LLC, Cannabis Education and Consulting Company. www.cq-llc.com. I'm actually going to be able to pay for my website. Yay. I'm excited. Like, oh my God. So yeah, that one I thought was kind of a funny one right there. The show is also brought to you by Queen Kitty Seltzer. I was like, where did they go down here? Queen Kitty Seltzer. Pop this kitty, put it in your mouth. Yummy. The purr's new. I don't know. we have Nearly Naked, Lemon Kiss, and Bubblegum Burst as our 10 milligram options. And we have the Virgin Cherry as our 20 milligram option. Never any sugar, never any sweeteners, and never any yak in the back. It is so delicious. And if you want some, you can get some by going to www.queenkittyseltzer.com, and you can order yours right there. We're also going to be putting up merch. I believe this week we're going to be taking pictures and stuff for some new merch to put up. We have magnets, we have stickers, we have
pins.
Yeah, we have a few t-shirts left. And yeah, so definitely check it out. And we'll be working on that this week and getting those things up. What else? Best thing you'll put in your mouth all day. Queen Kitty Seltzer, pop this kitty. We're gonna make another recipe soon. So follow us on social medias, Instagram. I was gonna pull this up for you guys because Lil Bobby Customs mentioned it. I was gonna pull it up for you guys. So let me go get it real quick. Give me a second. Let's see here. There we are. All right. Pause. Hold on. We want to share this. Just give me a second. We want to share it with you guys. We made a TikTok today, and you can find it on our TikTok and on our Instagram. We shared the post over there. Let's see. Here we go. We were still in our.
Why would you pop a cold one when it's 12 degrees out? Everybody knows this is what you do in times of stress. We need to get to the top of the mountain to get shelter and stay warm, and you're popping a cold one. Go build a shelter. I'll be there in a minute. Why would you pop a cold one when it's 12 degrees out?
So on the original, honestly, the lip sync is off. Yeah, the timing looked off on that, but on the original, the timing is spot on. So I think it's just because I'm sharing the screen. But yeah, we did a little skit today. It was fun to do. It's what you do when you're stressed. Have a little CBD in your life. So what is this? What is this article? It's a crazy article.
It's just talking about it. It's kind of fun. The first opening line is probably the best part about it, and then it just goes into hemp-derived cannabinoids. So
I love this first line. It's
So this is by Patrick Marvellius. This was August 24th out of High Times. How many hemp-derived cannabinoids does it take to screw in a light bulb? So he says, Donald Trump, in all his orange wisdom, inadvertently legalized commercial hemp production with the passage of the 2018 Farm Bill. God only knew at that point in time the chaotic and untimely snowball effect Trump's silly little orange signature would generate, and the name of the beast was Delta 8. And so it goes on to talk about the loophole in the Farm Bill passed in 2018 has inadvertently created a huge money grab for hemp producers. Hemp-derived cannabinoids, which are isolated, concentrated, and put into gummies, vapes, sprays, and any other number of consumables, have been sold across America and overseas. It turns this fun little segment of American history has turned into a smorgasbord of strange new compounds designated with odd combinations of numbers and letters, which can be daunting to almost any American consumer, such as Delta 8 THC, THCO, HHC, CBGA, etc.
CBGA is an actual cannabinoid.
It doesn't have the dash. It just runs it all together.
Maybe, but CBGA is definitely an actual cannabinoid.
But we do dash.
Okay. Those others are synthetic, and maybe they're saying that they're synthetically creating CBG, and so that could be what they're saying here. But those others are definitely synthetically created. I don't even know what HHC stands for. I feel like an old person in a child's game, not knowing what that stands for.
Yeah, I remember we did run into a couple at the
and they were like, whatever, it's legal in all 50 states.
Like, we don't even know. Here's a
they have no idea what's in it.
Eat this in here.
What does that say about kratom?
I too found myself sketched out, as the kid says, by smoke shop remedies for a good long while, not because they're all bad. The kratom conversation is insufferable, to say the least, but it does manage to very occasionally help people get off opiates. So I don't want to detract from the value of a lot of products.
Like his opinion on it.
Because again, loopholes allow it to be sold.
That
it goes into a lot more about how people are deriving it, it goes into
where it's coming from. Most minor cannabinoids such as CBN, THCV, delta 8, which is not that's delta 9, THCP, CBGA isolate, CBDA isolate. You have to make an isomerization pass, hydrogenation, pressure reaction, or through other semi-synthetic process. So what they're saying is that, you're not going to get these cannabinoids directly out of the hemp plant. They're saying, hey, these all have to be derived through a synthetic process.
Yeah, they have to take it through all these processes.
Even the ones that we know are existing cannabinoids. And here's the thing is those existing cannabinoids, the reason we haven't seen them in abundance is because they're difficult to extract in abundance.
And so seeing it in a gas station does not, and seeing CBG and knowing that you've heard that on the I guess however we want to discuss cannabis side, is they're using the same letters and the same, but
they're processing their process is creating at least some synthetic properties in the product. And so they're not coming directly from the plant. They have to create, like they're taking CBD and they're adding these things or doing these things to that CBD to create this, which is kind of what happens. So just be careful where you buy these things from. These cannabinoids are like CBN is a real cannabinoid. CBG is a real life. It comes from the plants where all cannabinoids are born. You just got to pay attention to, how is this processed? What, is it a synthetic? Is it not? I would say if you're going to use anything, I would use the ones that are at least real in real life. In real life, they happen. I don't know what HHC is. So I'm not gonna do that.
Be careful, and if you're consuming something for your first time, maybe consult with someone that actually uses cannabis.
Yeah, talk to somebody about it.
We're available.
Yeah, we are. Usually like on Discord or whatever.
So it goes on to talk a lot more about how I feel like there's they kind of interweave cannabis derived and then the synthetics, and it's a little confusing. I wish they would have kept it. So
right,
I just like that, but it is very informative. Go check it out. I don't think that it's our feelings on synthetics. If you're going to play with that stuff, be careful. Don't do it, actually.
Cool. Yeah, don't play with it. Don't play with it. That could be advice for so many situations.
Yeah. Okay. Next.
I don't know how many I put up today.
I feel like there's maybe no, did that one.
That one.
This one.
I just put that up because there were some crazy ones that I was like, wait.
Okay.
So.
And then get yourselves ready for Would You Rather. Bring yourselves back as we finish up. This is from grunge.com. Weird marijuana facts you probably didn't know. This is by D.B. Kelly and August 24th. let's see. Have you read? Did you go through that? Did you?
So there's a couple that I was just like going through, and I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. Let's see. Can you?
Yeah, they do a lot of. They have to do a lot of filler words to get started. So let's see.
Yeah, just scroll down because they're
Okay.
So this one was one of the first ones that I saw. It says cannabis evolved to make humans high with help from a virus. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't get a chance to like read the whole thing, but yeah, apparently a virus created this effect where cannabis can so admittedly it seems unlikely that something so useful to people just happened to evolve with feel good high and medical benefits all wrapped up in one neat package. So yeah, it's kind of crazy how well cannabis works in our system. So well, in fact, that we actually create our own cannabinoids or endocannabinoids, and they have a similar structure to the phytocannabinoids that are found in cannabis, like THC and CBD, for example. So researchers at the University of Toronto were looking to figure out why this is when they started digging through the ancient genome of hemp called phenola and a strain of marijuana called purple kush. Their findings were published in the Journal for Genome Research, revealed that cannabis produces compounds, including THC and CBD, with a random set of instructions that ended up on one single cannabis genome in perhaps the weirdest way possible. There are a lot of filler words in this article.
Mm-hmm.
They were made in the process that was kickstarted by a virus that scrambled the plant's DNA and made copies of itself and then multiplied. So I guess they're saying that cannabis wasn't always coded this way. They think that the ancient viral infection had a side effect that was to split the instructions for making THC and CBD into two separate codes made from what was initially the same gene. If that's not weirdly convenient enough, they also say that the separate coding means that it'll likely be possible to genetically engineer plants that produce only THC and only CBD down the road. This is pretty neat, right? But I don't think that that's super neat because I'm a big proponent of all of these cannabinoids kind of being together, but I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like that then it goes into, again, just the hybridization, or when we are talking about genetics and breeding, that it does have to be done but we also have to preserve genetics, and not everything is meant to be combined just because it's the same,
Yeah.
Anywho, so yeah, so a virus, essentially they're saying, that's how they figured
the virus created the split of the coding on the plant and made it, I guess they're saying their DNA is different basically than it was originally as it evolved and got this virus.
Okay.
So the plant's DNA coding created THC and CBD as one code prior to getting this virus, and this virus separated that code. And now our bodies can use those compounds differently, the way they attach to receptors and stuff.
Right. Yeah. So number 2, cannabis and chocolate have a lot in common.
I think I feel like I knew this a little bit. You want to take it? Or?
Yeah. So countless people choose to light up a joint at the end of a long day because it makes them feel better. That's the same reason many people might be tempted to sneak an extra chocolate bar into their shopping cart.
Awesome.
Speaking of which, I have one in the refrigerator. Weirdly,
Oh,
the two or
yeah.
more similar than they. Weirdly, the two are more similar than they seem at first glance.
I think they have a similar structure on some level. Anyways, go ahead. I'll let you tell us.
This is back from the Wall Street Journal in 1996, reported on research that's been published in the Journal of Nature. A group of San Diego neuroscientists show the happy brain receptors that were activated by cannabis were the same receptors that were activated by chocolate, albeit on a milder scale. Okay. Fast forward to 2019, an ever-growing market for cannabis edibles. This new market had to deal with figuring out exactly how to label what a customer is getting in a product, specifically THC levels. Chocolate edibles are, of course, a fan favorite, but they also present a massive problem. Zucker Hillside Hospital Assistant Unit Chief of Psychiatry, Scott Krakauer, explained to Healthline that when cannabis and chocolate are combined, something happens to THC levels, and they are not precisely sure what. They do know that the more chocolate there is in a product, the less THC shows up. What does this mean for potency?
We did a story about this on one of the shows where we talked about the potency levels not being accurate in some of the chocolate because of this. They don't really get into it here, but I remember doing that show. I remember talking about this. Yeah, that's crazy.
Okay.
This is crazy.
Yeah, this one is baby shampoo can trigger false positives for cannabis use.
These damn kids are going to get us put in jail.
So apparently, let's see. Let me just kind of skim through this one real quick. We will just make this quick. The questions were answered by universities of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, involved in a weird series of events in 2012 when an extraordinarily high number of infants started testing positive for pot use.
That's crazy.
They expected something else was going on. It turned out that a weirdly huge number of baby products, particularly baby-friendly soap and shampoo from big companies like Aveeno, contain chemicals that were found to interfere with test results, particularly the test results given by the more affordable tests used by hospitals who wanted results as soon as possible.
Wow.
So how many parents
baby shampoo?
Yeah. Wow.
I use baby shampoo sometimes to wash my face because no more tears. So but I do use
I have an eye doctor who told me to use it to clean my eyes before.
Yeah, because no more tears. So I do use copious amounts of cannabis, but also no more tears.
It says it's because
it's just baby shampoo.
Yeah, well, it says the connection, they're not entirely sure. It's possible the soaps have a chemical structure similar to the compounds in cannabis, or the reaction between the chemicals in the soaps and the tests cause the false positives. Either way, they actually doesn't say. It just said, baby friendly. And it must have been a specific lot, I feel like, because it just says that this particular hospital was noting it.
Yeah, is it not happened before? I feel like that would be a much bigger news story. This one too, I don't know. Some of these sound outrageous.
This is the headline. If you smoke too much, your fingers could fall off.
Just fall off.
Get ready for, just fall off.
They could just fall off.
Let's see. It's a 2016 case study in the Annals of Emergency Medicine. Describes the symptoms of a 49-year-old man, a heavy pot smoker, went to the doctor when his fingertips started turning a blue-black color, and ulcers developed on his fingertips along with pitting in his hands.
What was he smoking on? I want to know what you were smoking on.
The diagnosis: cannabis arteritis, a rare condition that affects a tiny portion of very heavy pot smokers.
No.
It's unclear what causes the condition, but experts do know
Chemicals.
that it interferes with the function of the blood vessels in the extremities, causing necrosis, and usually leads to amputation. First and foremost, though, orders to stop smoking immediately and completely. This is why you use a
grinder
and also a holder, like a where
I don't know, man. This, first of all, this is one person that they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
What's in?
It's enough. I think it's happened to other people.
It's happened enough to report on, but I always ask
rare
the same
condition. It's very rare.
No shit,
Not
because
unclear what causes it.
Well, I'm gonna say, did you test the cannabis? Any of it at all?
So
what's in it? What's in it?
Simply, it takes a lot of cannabis to make this happen. What's a lot though? What's this dude
What's
like?
a lot?
I mean, at 49. Okay. A 2017 study in the Pan African Medical Journal looked at a woman with the same condition, which developed after about 12 years of smoking somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 tobacco cigarettes and as many as 10 joints daily.
Okay, that's not fair because she's smoking cigarettes.
Different, yes. There are pictures. No one wants to see them.
Nobody does. Listen here. Also, she was fucking with tobacco too.
Mm-hmm.
And also, what was in the can? I always ask this question. I'm not going to disagree with you that cannabis doesn't have some negative. Okay, I'm not going to disagree with you on that. But what I want to know with these rare cases is what's in the cannabis. Did they test it? Is it just cannabis? Is it just that? And they have this for real rare condition, or are there chemicals or something? Are they taking down their own plants and not flushing them enough? Are they like, what is happening?
Yeah, well, I need more
because I've been smoking for at least 12 years or more. That's not enough time. Now I'm looking at my fingers like, are they turning blue? No, bro, they're not. Just what?
Missing feeling in your fingers. No, I think too you would pay attention to if something necrotic was happening.
Yeah, like
to your hands
what the fuck is that? You know,
before it got to amputation status,
right? Can we just amputate the fingertip, like the little bit? Just the tip.
This one's interesting. And that's scary to figure out how they figured this out, but lobsters enjoy a toke or two before their final bath.
I mean, me too.
You're fine. It's on going out.
He said my fingers are fine. Mine too. Everybody check your fingers.
Yes. Keep an eye on your fingers.
Keep an eye on your fingers.
It says whether or not lobsters feel pain. You want this one? You want to talk about the lobsters in pain?
Whether or not lobsters feel pain has been debated for a long time. They're alive. Seriously, you guys, stop asking stupid questions.
They feel it.
They feel it.
How would you feel?
How would you feel?
It hurts. Well, we've talked about our burns. We've had a lot of. I was burned as a child, and so was she. 3rd-degree burns.
3rd-degree burns on my stomach. On my stomach, because I was a latchkey kid, and I was pulling a bowl of boiling water with a bag of rice in it, as that's what I had as a snack. I was weirdo. With soy sauce. Yes, of course. With soy sauce. And when I was pulling it out, it hit the lip of the glass on the microwave. And when it did, it fucking dumped. And it poured water all over my stomach.
My mom gave me my soup and I pulled it on me.
And the thing was I was so scared. I was so scared of something like that happening because my aunt has a burn mark on her shoulder we weren't allowed in the kitchen because of this incident where she pulled a pan down. You know how they started making commercials about putting your pan to the side, handle in? It's because of things like my aunt. She pulled a hot grease down on her when she was a toddler. She grabbed the handle and pulled it down, and she had like a burn on her shoulder for her whole, like, she's still alive, but she's had it her whole life. And so I was always like kind of more cognizant about things in the kitchen because we knew that, you know, we were told that it was like a precautionary tale or a cautionary tale in my grandmother's house. So like it was a thing. But no, we don't think about shit like boiling water dumping on us. So anyways, luckily, my mom had just let one of her friends move in with us for a little bit, and she had just come home from work as I was like in the freezer looking for a bag of peas to put on my stomach. I wasn't even going to call my mom. This was the late 80s, early 90s. I wasn't even going to call my mom. I wasn't even going to call her. The friend had to call my mom to tell her that she was taking me to the hospital. And my mom anyways, they fixed me up nicely. They gave me a cream. I didn't have any scarring from it at all. Thank goodness. But yeah. So anyways, but also anything that's alive. I mean, we've talked about this on the show before, but I'm really careful about how I prune plants too, because I don't want to like strip them like with the streamies. It makes me think about, I can't. It's like hangnail status. Anyways. So if it's cruel to boil them alive. Yes. Okay. So yes. Okay. Is it cruel to boil a living thing alive?
Why do they have to be alive? Like when I don't know why.
I think it probably, and I don't know this for certain. I could be completely wrong about this. I'm just making it up in my brain, but it probably might have something to do with like the chemicals that are released upon death in that moment, or like, you know, if you have fear chemical, I don't know. Anyways, maybe it makes their meat more tender. I don't know. I don't know the answer to the question. Somebody that knows something about lobster, you tell us. Okay.
Do tell.
At the heart of the matter is the fact that so this is why it's debatable, because they don't have a nervous system like humans do. Just because it's not like ours doesn't. Anyways, I think they probably feel pain. But anyways, so this gets into but as Queen's University Belfast professor Dr. Robert Elwood points out to the CBC, an octopus doesn't have eyes like humans, but they can see just fine, which is true. They will fucking eat you.
I learned an octopus thing about how they can get through everything.
He says, "Sorry, lobster, but I love you."
Anyway.
Okay. So that's what I just said. So just because it's not like ours doesn't mean they don't have. Okay. So what does that mean for cooking lobsters? Chef Charlotte Gill had an interesting take on the transition from carefree underwater life to lobster roll. Girl. Anyways, can we
a little less traumatic, and that's to get lobsters stoned.
I was like, girl, the lobster roll, that was rude. Okay. In a 2006 study, it confirmed that lobsters can be impacted by the same chemicals that make marijuana so pleasing to people. Can we just pause on that sentence right there? If they can be impacted by the same chemical compounds that we are impacted by, then what makes you think they don't feel pain? Okay. So she decided to see if getting lobsters stoned before throwing them in the pot made a difference. I cannot. I'm sorry, vegans. In short, she said, yeah. She told National Geographic that not only did they mellow out the lobsters, but putting a stone lobster back in the tank with the others helped everyone else chill out.
How did they get the stoned lobster? Oh my gosh, the next part. How did they get the lobster stoned? Did they say?
I didn't see that. I don't think so. She just said getting them stoned. She said, even better, it makes the lobster meat taste sweeter, taste better and lighter, was actually more tender because there's less stress hormones released in the idea of I'm about to die. So there was a study done. I read about it in college. So I don't.
Short-lived because of the health department. Her experiments.
Her experiment was short-lived, all thanks to state's health department. Don't get those lobsters stoned. It's their last dying wish. So there was a study that I read about this when I was in college, but basically, if you the reason you want to treat your livestock and your pets for food that you're going to use for food, you want to treat them and make them happy, make sure they're stress-free. And there was an experiment done. And the ones that were like so stress-free, walked almost voluntarily and happily to their death. And the ones that were stressed out are the ones that fought and didn't want to go in. And having the stress-free animals impacted the other animals. So if you're high, you're impacting other animals around you. Moral of the story.
Well, I think that's all. Yeah, if you're the vibe, you have good energy. You can pass it on.
I'm gonna smoke a blunt with my lobsters. No, what you have to do if you're into this type of murder, you have to get a live lobster, get it high, then put it in. That's what it said. That's what makes it sweeter. Sorry. I'm just telling you what I read. I'm not advocating. They do feel pain though. Maybe less if they're high, but they do feel it. So make sure the water's boiling. Oh no, you got to put them in before it's boiling, right?
No, it's boiling water. So do it quick.
They won't try to escape if you put them in before it's boiling or whatever.
Just do it quick.
Yeah, you just got to drop them in the boiling. That's what I was thinking, is they won't try to escape if the water starts boiling while they're in it, because they won't notice that it's happening until it's too late.
I don't know.
I'm not advocating.
I don't know. I've never done that.
Remember that warning, the trigger warning we gave at the beginning of the show? I'm not advocating for any of this. I'm just telling you what I read.
Okay.
Shocker.
Marijuana can increase susceptibility to false memories.
No shit. Sorry.
This is from in 2020. The PNAS.
Look, it's Steven Seagal.
Published a paper called "Cannabis Increases Susceptibility to False Memory," and it's an odd phenomenon. It's an odd phenomenon. Researchers recruited 64 people, gave them either cannabis or a placebo, and then tested them to see how susceptible they were to agreeing to false memories when questioned about what they saw in a virtual reality simulator.
Bitch, what? Fuck
they
off.
concluded that cannabis made more people more susceptible to remembering things that didn't happen than people who'd gotten the placebo. Along with that came a warning: with the legalization of marijuana, police could have more and more run-ins with people who were legally partaking. When it came to questioning witnesses, for example, researchers argued that authorities needed to keep in mind that asking leading questions to someone who is high could result in some potentially devastating misinformation being given.
I'm saying you should never interview somebody who is intoxicated.
They went as far to suggest any witnesses who are high should be considered a vulnerable group, similar to a child or elderly witness / suspect. But strangely, other researchers say that that's not actually what's going on. It's not a matter of false recall, but just a reflection of the tendency of people to get super agreeable while high. Interesting, there's a limit, meaning that they can coerce you. Interesting, there's a limit. The reliability of memory and recall, says cannabis expert Dr. Mary Clifton, hits a point. About a week after an event in question, where people who were sober remember it just as clearly as people who were high.
It depends on how high you are. And also, people are super agreeable in a situation where there's an authority figure in the room and telling you what they know. Right. There's a recent event. I had a conversation recently with someone, and they were asked to do something, and I was like, get it in writing. They were asked to do something by a law enforcement officer, and I was like, get in writing. You need to get this in writing, that this is what they want and this is why they want it, and like blah blah blah, because the police can lie to you to your face, and it's not illegal to lie to you.
Yeah.
So, listen, here's the thing. I'm just going to say this because I'm always sitting on the couch, just like screaming at the TV, because like, why are you talking? Why are you talking to them? And I know that I've told this story about being pulled over and like being super honest. My spirit guides were telling me to be super honest right then in that moment. But like, literally, if there was something serious and I was being brought in for questioning, I would ask for my attorney to be present. I will answer your questions. I would just like my attorney to be present at the time, so that I don't say something that could potentially incriminate me, even though I'm not guilty of anything. Right. So, if you're ever brought into the police station, as a like, this definitely equates to if there's somebody that's no longer with us and they're investigating that. But like, literally in any situation that you're kind of somehow connected to in some way, like even if you have nothing to do with it, if you're somehow connected in some way to that situation, get an attorney. If your significant other is no longer with us under mysterious circumstances and they're investigating that, and they look you in your face and say, we don't believe you did it, get an attorney. Are you the best friend of the boyfriend? Get an attorney. Get an attorney.
If you're any reason, get an attorney.
They can lie to you to your face. They can be like, we got your fingerprints at the scene. No, they don't.
Next one up. Even worms get the munchies. Why wouldn't it?
Why wouldn't they?
This is coming from and who thinks about these? Let's see if worms get the munchies.
Who thinks about these things?
Let's get write lobster. A thesis. Hey, people that have to write a thing, right?
They're like, what am I going to do that nobody's ever done before? I'm getting lobsters high.
This is Professor Sean Lockery of the Institute of Neuroscience at the University of Oregon, and may call it hedonic feeding, but the rest of the world knows it for what it really is: the munchies. Science has known for a while what gives people the munchies when they smoke pot, and it's pretty complicated. In a nutshell, THC acts on the brain in a few ways that all come together to make us crave foods. It says Doritos and pizza. In addition to releasing the hunger hormone ghrelin.
I don't really like Doritos.
I know, yeah.
I eat them. They're okay, but I feel like they're maybe too oily or something.
It's chemically taste.
It's a weird.
This hunger hormone ghrelin heightens our sense of smell and taste, lowers inhibitions, and overrides the part of the brain that signals that we're full. In other words, it's the perfect storm for destroying the snack cabinet. And so what does it say? So THC acts, it makes it okay. So yeah, it's caused by that THC. It seems that it might be a pretty human-specific thing, but in 2023, Lockery published research that found nematodes, worms so small that they're best viewed under a microscope, also got the munchies when exposed to cannabinoids.
I can't with. No, I didn't.
The tiny worms are put in an area with sections of different foods by preference. It's like being faced with a cabinet of microwave pizza and gas station nachos or one full of salad and quinoa. Researchers knew they were impacted by the cannabinoids when they gorged themselves on their favorite bacteria and then just kept right on going. Is there a point to this? Surprisingly, yes. Lockery says that finding a genetic connection between the worms and the cannabis compound may lead to discoveries about metabolic disorders.
Oh, okay. I can get behind that science.
Okay.
I can get behind that.
So interesting.
Italian cities were found to have to have measurable quantities of pot in the air. So go to Italy.
Yeah. That's crazy. Okay.
We don't need to read that. I think that's fair. Go to Italy. Go to Italy to experience measurable levels of pot.
Oh no. Hugo, Colorado officials warned residents to not drink the local waters as tests had come back positive for THC.
Hugo,
it was
Colorado,
a false alarm.
It was false alarm. False alarm. Because you know why? Do you know why? Cannabinoids are not water soluble. They have to be processed.
Okay. It doesn't even actually say anything more about the Italian air.
It's just like the whole there's a needle in your candy. There's fentanyl in your regulated pot. This is all false alarms. This is not true.
So cannabis has been linked to endangering several species.
I can see that.
This is in 2018. There was a report reported from several groups that were calling for the Humboldt marten, a small mink-like animal once found throughout the old-growth forest of the Pacific Northwest, to be given protection as an endangered species. The reason, the habitat loss caused mainly by the clearing of forests for newly legalized weed farms, coupled with farms use of pesticides.
Let's see.
Yeah, that happens with palm oil and the orangutans.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see.
The marijuana experiment of 1972 has some weird results.
It's the picture that is the best part of this, y'all. We won't need you to. We'll definitely post this one.
Just the picture. I think if we could click that picture and post just the picture, it would be my favorite thing. I might want to frame it.
Okay, we'll get that. I'll get it to you here. Let me just put it in Messenger real quick. Where are you here?
You can put in the one with Marion. She'd be like, "What is this?"
And she's not in the show today.
Yeah,
she's probably
working. She's got work. She's gonna be here next week.
Will he be here next week?
Way back in ye old times of 1972, who the fuck? Oh my god! There was a 2020 movie called The Marijuana Conspiracy. Basically, a story of women who bonded during a weird government experiment put together to determine what happens to the body when someone smokes pot every day. I have the answer.
Satanic panic.
And here's the thing. It's based on a true story with the same weird consequences. Way back in 1972, the Canadian government put millions into research ahead of a proposed plan to legalize marijuana. As part of the research, 20 women were recruited and divided into two groups, those who smoked and those who didn't. Oh, man, I would really hope to be in the first group.
Mm-hmm.
I really would. And were given increasingly potent doses of pot every day for 98 days to see what would happen.
From the Canadian government.
From the Canadian government in 1972. It's not even as potent as what we smoke from the dispensary today for $20 an eighth. One of those was a 21-year-old Doreen Brown, deep in grief over the loss of her mother. She told the Toronto Star, "It was an adventure at first until it wasn't." Oh, shit. We were asking them to take it away, she recalled. "I felt comatose. I couldn't do anything. It was torture." Oh, no. Participants described terrifying side effects like hallucinations, breathing difficulties, and feelings of isolation made worse by their physical isolation in the Toronto hospital.
I can only imagine it was some very, amazing digs or something.
Yeah. Getting out wasn't the relief they thought it would be either. Many ended up in therapy to deal with feelings, mostly fear and paranoia. As for the official results of the study, they said they'd still like to see those.
Yeah. So they did this. They sequestered these 20 women for 98 days and gave them copious
amounts of weed.
I wonder how much.
And I wonder what type.
Like what did they make them do?
Listen, I'm not saying I'm not saying it's the end all be all, but like if they're like giving them like strongly relaxing types of cannabis, then they're not going to feel like doing anything all day. They're going to feel comatose. They're going to feel like,
and they isolated them. And I'm sure, what did they subject them to as far as like what,
right.
Did they give them things to, work on or not, or just, again, isolate them, make them feel crazy,
and then call them, what do they call us? Hysterics. Are there, how many more are there?
I feel like there's a lot.
No, that's a lot. Oh yeah, there's one more that says that's something different. That says that maybe cannabis is making your brain more wired and not more relaxed. Well, it does absolutely depend on the type of cannabis you're smoking and the cannabinoids that you're ingesting.
Those what your body is needing.
Yeah, and what your body needs and how your body reacts to things. We have a few people every once in a while that says, my body doesn't do well with CBD. And honestly, that's the truth. Mm-hmm. Their body doesn't like CBD for some reason. Maybe it fucks with their stomach. I know people with gastrointestinal disorders that CBD does them wonders. And I know people with gastrointestinal disorders that CBD fucks them up. Mm-hmm. So it really does depend on the person. That said, you can smoke different or consume. It's not just smoking. You can consume different types of or different compounds of cannabis and get different results for your body. Also, the way we ingest cannabis can factor into that. Think about this. If you are consuming cannabis with gummies, you're also consuming whatever's in that gummy. So those things can have an effect on your body. One of the reasons that we love our seltzer so much, Queen Kitty Seltzer, Pop This Kitty, is because it doesn't have any sugar in it or any sweeteners in it. And so now you're consuming water that doesn't have sugar in it, and water shouldn't have sugar in it, right? And neither should your cannabinoids. Honestly, if you're using them for wellness, sugar's not your friend. and sugars in everything. I mean, we just ate a cupcake on the show. So we're not saying that, hey, the whatever.
We're eating sugar.
We're definitely doing, but but it's everywhere else. So when we consume our cannabis, we might want to consider looking for resources that don't contain the most deadliest substance.
So the headline doesn't match the actual, like, what they're talking about here a little bit. It's a little far-fetched, but marijuana might have the reputation for being the substance to partake in a lazy afternoon after a long, stressful day at work, or to kick back and relax with some old friends.
Could be.
Chill out. Can be. But weirdly, research has found that what's actually going on in a person's brain is precisely the opposite of that. It's 2015 research from Yale School of Medicine published a study in the journal Biological Psychiatry, saying that they discovered that THC increased a specific kind of brain activity called neural noise. What exactly is that? Neurons in the brain fired with electrical activity as they transfer, as they transmit information. Sometimes they fire without carrying any messages. That's neural noise. Think of a television broadcasting nothing but bursts of static. They also found that the higher the dose, the more disruption there was.
That's the apocalypse, by the way.
Researchers from the University of Texas at Dallas confirmed those findings in 2018. Interestingly, they stressed that the increased neural noise is there even when the person in question isn't doing anything. Dr. Shilka Prasad explained that there could be a few strange consequences, including interfering with brain activity, a disruption in processes, and weirdly, it suggested that the extra noise could mean someone has to concentrate more to stop a thought or to perform a task, which is kind of the opposite of what's expected of cannabis in the first place. I don't know. I use cannabis to focus sometimes, so a lot of the times, like, it helps me to. So like I said, I don't know about where they're at with this.
Yeah, I'd like to know what other factors they considered for this. Like, did they make sure the person doesn't have ADHD or ADD?
Yeah.
Did they make sure that, what were they consuming? What was the
and what were they making the tasks that they were?
Yeah. It's I don't know.
Stop. Yeah.
Sometimes we need more complete scientific look at
and
those
they're
things.
looking for a specific result too. Sometimes when they're doing these, when they're doing their research, they're looking for specifics to get to a specific.
And so if they get that specific result, then why look further? Why look further?
All right.
We're down to the last part of the show, which means we're going to be doing some would you rathers. And so I kept them pretty simple this time. I will say we may have an event on September 6th. So if we do a show, it will be short, but we'll let you guys know. We'll post about it and whether or not we're going to be on. And that's all we have slated for right now. So yeah, make sure you get you some Queen Kitty Seltzer, www.queenkittyseltzer.com. Pop this kitty, put it in your mouth. Best thing you'll put in your mouth all day.
Keep an eye on our website. We'll have new
stuff
soon.
Okay, so I hope everybody's back at their computer. I hope you're ready for the would you rathers. So the first one, would you rather bounce off of every surface you touch or never be able to jump again?
I know what I will do. I would bounce.
I would bounce.
Everyone.
I would bounce.
Do I get protective like clothing, or
I would
like
learn to control my bounce?
A non-bruise capability that comes with that?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like we would, if you bounce off of every surface, you would adapt yourself accordingly.
No more. Your body will just evolve and not have.
Or you would adapt your clothing accordingly. Like, well, now I wear ski pants everywhere.
And then later, like silicone.
I know, not being able to jump that makes me feel so like without gravity,
weighted.
Yeah, like I will say this though. Stop asking me to jump up and down at a concert on concrete. Stop it. Stop it. These knees. No, absolutely.
I'll wave my hands in the air, but I can't jump.
I do this bounce thing. And it looks like I'm maybe jumping, but I'm not really jumping. It's not time yet. You got 15 minutes. Get up here and sit down. Okay, or don't. Okay. I would love to. She said I would love to bounce again. Get your face off this table. Get up here. I yelled at her so hard the other day while we were recording. It was crazy, but it really just echoed off of the wall, so it sounded louder. Look at her. She's so sweet, right? Today she like attacked me in a playful way, but I was like, what the fuck?
I'm full of energy.
So crazy. She's my crazy. She's my crazy. Okay, next question.
Would you rather shout all the time or only be able to whisper?
Shout.
It was shout.
I'm gonna be loud. I'm gonna be loud.
All the time. You have to listen to me shout all the time.
That bitch is so loud.
Shout.
Why is she so loud? You just wear earplugs when you go to her house. Why is she so loud? What are you guys thinking out there in the world? What would you rather? Would you rather shout all the time or whisper? Shout. Yeah, same. Because if you whisper, then people be like, what'd you say?
What?
Say it again?
What?
Say it again. I didn't hear you first time. Bitch, it would drive me crazy.
It
would drive me crazy.
Get a bullhorn and whisper into it.
Like I'm about to age myself. Like in Police Academy.
What's her?
What was her name?
I don't remember her name, but yes.
In Police Academy, the little please stop. She couldn't even get her voice over the. Yeah. So great.
I love that. I love that whole series.
Such a great series, but I bet if we look back on it, problematic. But because a lot of those series that, not series, but like movies that I'll be watching them and I'll be like,
they actually did pretty good. I mean, I don't know. Like I think
that it would be problematic in a sexist way more than in a racist way. But a lot of those movies are problematically racist and or sexist. Like they really are. They really are. Hi. No, it's not time yet. So stop. No. Don't harangue me.
Face away. Go
on. Last one. Which billionaire do you choose? Here are your choices. Iron Man or Batman? Which billionaire do you choose? Because they're not actually, the question actually was which superhero, like characteristics would you want or whatever, but they're not actually superheroes in terms of like that they have their own
they're billionaires that they have
abilities.
Toys.
They have toys, right? So Iron Man or Batman? I want to say that I want to hang out with Iron Man only because I think Batman.
Yeah, like are we hanging out with them? We like we
it's
are
chosen,
them.
It's a chosen superhero. I'm an Iron Man girl, but because he's more charismatic, but also their backgrounds are so vastly different. Tony Stark grew up in privilege, yes, and so did Bruce Wayne. But Tony Stark grew up with his father was absent as far as like he was working all the time, but he grew up with the father. You know, his parents didn't just suddenly die, and that's why he became a superhero. He actually became a superhero out of selfish reasons, I think, at first.
Yeah.
So whereas
are we hanging out with them?
Whereas Bruce Wayne has this, and also Gotham City is so dark, and why wouldn't you be broody and depressed? So you say Batman because he's got the Batcave, so you want to hang out in the Batcave. I want to hang out in penthouses and at parties. Not really. I don't want to hang out in either of those places, but I do.
I just want to hang out in that the view.
Yeah, the view's nice. I prefer personality-wise, even though they're both obnoxious. Tony Stark.
Yeah, I think I agree.
Tony Stark.
Movie-wise, I do. I mean, but
Michael Keaton was the best Batman, though.
Michael Keaton's best Batman. They brought him back, and then
they did. They brought him back in the newest. Yeah, in the
it's not released yet, right?
Well, they brought him back in the Flash too. I think they brought him back already.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
Yeah, I want to say it was in the Flash that they brought his character. Because in the new, I might be spoilers right here, but I think he crosses timelines or whatever with his running. And so in one of them, it is Michael Keaton's. It was very exciting. Okay, well,
that's it.
That's it.
Sketch day.
That's it. We are not going to jump on Discord today because we have a guest visiting us. I still feel the same way I felt at the beginning of the show. So about how consideration. I still don't take it back.
Oh, are they alive?
They're alive.
Okay.
Good job, everybody. We love you guys. Thank you so much for joining us, even when we have no idea what the fuck's going on. Thanks for always being here with us. Thanks for participating in our shenanigans with us, and loving us and supporting us. Follow us on our social medias. Queen Kitty Seltzer has her own social medias, so you can look up Queen Kitty Seltzer on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook. I think we have a Twitter account that we don't use, and I believe we're on LinkedIn. And then, of course, we're on Threads. And again, we don't use it, but we do use our Instagram and our TikTok and our Facebook relatively often. You can follow the Cannabis Closet, solo.to/cannabiscloset420. Our TikTok has a different name, but everything else is, I think, pretty much under either the Cannabis Closet Podcast or Cannabis Closet 420. So it just go to the Solo link and it'll take you to all of them.
It'll take you there.
Like, comment, share, and all that stuff. And again, thanks for being here and loving us and supporting us. And we'll maybe we'll see you next. Maybe we'll see you next Wednesday.
I'll let you know.
We don't know yet because that's how it's been, and it's summertime, and get down.
Don't forget to
be nice to yourself and put your mask on before assisting others.
Yes. Cultivate love. Bring it to you.
And stay lifted.
Stay lifted.
We got a new one.
Oh, goodness. Stay lifted, y'all, and gifted. We love you. Thank you.
Great way to end the show. All right. We'll see y'all soon. Bye.